Mr. Perfect, Curt Hennig. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to WWE Wednesday. I was going to do another character other than Curt today. I've got all these other amazing figures. Not that this isn't, but this is an amazing character and a great wrestler. But I've got these really good ones. I've got a Ric Flair to open. I've got the Outsiders to open. Wow. But I think I'll leave that one. I've got a bit more time. This is a quick and easy one, and I'm a bit rushed when I'm filming this to get something ready for Wednesday. So, Curt Hennig, I bought this like the play. I bought this along with me really because they're from the same line. The Snake Roberts I got from. It was a Toys R Us, madly enough, seeing one of them back. Toys R Us that was inside a post office. 3 in 1. 3 stores. It was the post office, WH Smith's, and it had the Toys R Us in there. Got that one in Southport. I just had to buy it because you know the reason why. The nostalgic connection. And then this one I got from the Liverpool one. I had to get this because it looks really good for Curt. There is a black singlet variant of him, but I fancied getting this one because that reminded me of the Curt that I remember. I've also brought this along to the video, ladies and gentlemen. Let me find this great picture of Curt in here. Right, Curt. Let's take Roberts. Oh, behave. Oh, there he is. Look at that. I remember getting this annual, Christmas of 91 it would have been, and seeing him with that belt. I was like, what? Bret Hart's the Intercontinental Champion, which he was at that time, at the end of 91. And I was getting into all this, discovering it. Hitman was the champion and he would have beaten Curt. And they're great matches, by the way. He is so underrated. Unbelievably good wrestler, Curt Hennig. I won't waffle on too long, but he knows how to take a bump and he knows how to work in the ring. Great technical skills, just like Bret Hart. Like Bret Hart said something like, you know, they were made for each other in the ring. They were just like brilliant combatants, you know, dance partners almost. That's what it was about, putting on a show. But when I say he would make people look better than they were. I mean, Shawn Michaels would do that to some extent because if you hit Shawn, he would just sell it so well. Boom, he'd just go rolling and tumbling. This guy would do exactly the same. If you kicked him in the shin, he would 360, man, throw himself down. It looked like he was in agonizing pain. It's just a brilliant performance. That's what it's about, the art of wrestling. So I love Curt Hennig a lot. I've got the DVD, which is really good. The Life and Times of Mr. Perfect, which you can also get, I think, for free now in the WWE Vault on YouTube. But that's a really good DVD. I had the figure from the 90s as well, 91, 92, whenever it was, the yellow one. In fact, there was a variant that you could get in that colour, which was probably a fortune, dead rare. But the yellow one was the common one. Decent figure. The Perfect Plex, of course. I just loved Mr. Perfect. He looked awesome. I love the Mr. P thing as well. The first time I saw him in that Survivor Series I mentioned last episode, I talked about the Survivor Series 1988, the second annual edition, and he came out as I just said at the beginning of this video, Mr. Perfect, Curt Hennig, and that's the first time I realised, oh, he's got a name. I always knew him as Mr. Perfect from things like this and his trading cards and stuff, but obviously he has a name. He's called Curt Hennig, son of Larry the Axe Hennig, and he just wore black trunks like Steve Austin type, you know, just regular black trunks like that, but then obviously he got this look, more athletic look, should we say. That's the kind of the Kurt Angle thing, isn't it? Looking like an athlete. That worked for his persona, didn't it? The gimmick of being Mr. Perfect, perfection, you know, in the ring, which he was brilliant. And sad end to his life, but we won't go down that road for now. We'll just focus on this figure, focus on the positives. Brilliant. He was in WCW as well, a natural fit for the NWO, given the you know, some of the people that went through that were all linked subconsciously to the World Wrestling Federation, weren't they? So he was perfect for the black and white. Anyway, I'm going to booyah this because it's just basic packaging. So should we do it? Should we go for it, ladies and gentlemen? Oh yeah! Look at that, and I knew it. At the back you get the double colours, which is perfect for, no pun intended, perfect for him. He always had singlets like that, didn't he? Multiple colour. Let's get him out. And the reason I've got all these other figures with him is because somebody did comment and said, oh, excuse me, that this line, the main event line, is it called? Let's have a look. They were too tall, or they made them taller. I actually now beg to differ, because what it was when I opened Jake the Snake. We'll come back to Curt in a minute. When I opened Jake the Snake, I noticed that he was taller than this Hogan figure. However, as you know, I opened this Hogan here, which is probably more accurately made. I'd say that maybe he's taller than that Hogan. Can you tell on camera? His head up a bit. Are they the same height? So maybe this figure from this line was too short, because I put these two together and Jake is 6'5", Hogan's 6'7". So this Hogan now looks bigger than this Jake. So I'd say that maybe not necessarily this line of figures, the main event, are too tall. Maybe this guy from the Survivor Series line, or whatever it was called, was too short. But the ultimate test will be to see how tall Curt is. Now, if Curt dwarfs Hogan, that ain't no good, because I don't know how tall Curt was. I'd have to put that information on the screen. But he weren't 6'5". He was over 6 foot, but he weren't that tall. That's probably about right. Look at that. And then, yeah, Jake would be bigger than him. And let's see how tall this Curt is. Now, if this Curt is the same height or taller than this Hogan, nah, it's about right. So I don't know what's going on there. If you've got any thoughts on the main event line or the accurate scaling of this line of figures, because I know very little, I'm new to it all, let me know. But I will move them out of the way for now. And as you probably will be the case as with the Jake the Snake figure, this will have minimal articulation, but I don't care, man. I'm glad it's just that I don't like necessarily ab crunches or hinges on the chest. I just want it to look like Curt, which that does. Can't swap the hands or anything. You've only got one option. That's quite good. He's got that open hand gesture, that kind of show off pose there. I quite like that, man. I'm loving that. It's great. What I really want is I want an Intercontinental belt next. You can get one of them with Razor Ramon, just so I can recreate this. Let me get that page again for you. Hang on. There he is. How cool is that, man? Curt Hennig, man. He was so good, man. Brilliant. One of my favourites. Underrated. And, like with Scott Hall and Jake and a few others, one of the greatest wrestlers never to be world champion, without a shadow of a doubt. Let's go handheld on this guy now and give you a closer look. There he is. That's a brilliant facial sculpt. When I was in especially from that angle there. When I was in the store, I had two in front of me and they looked different. I hate that. When you're looking at the figure and you're thinking, which one am I going to take home? Which is the best one? And I settled on this one in the end. But yeah, the words of Bret Hart were something like, I had beautiful matches with Curt. Beautiful matches with Curt were his very words. Some great moments. There was one match where he ripped his, I want to call them tights. That's a singlet, right? I thought a singlet was one with a single strap like Andre, but I think singlet is just single piece. Is that right? If I'm wrong on that, I'm making a right fool of myself on the internet. But let me know. He ripped his gear though, and he looked. It wrecked the match that for me because he looked like he was a mess, or he needed stronger spandex or whatever. But Curt Hennig, ladies and gentlemen, Curt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. In WCW, he just went by his name, Curt Hennig, but most of the guys went by their normal names, you know. John Tenter, Earthquake. Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. Kevin Nash, Diesel. Brian Adams, Crush. Brian Clark, Atom Bomb. You know what I mean? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Perfect, Curt Hennig. What a great figure that is. Love it. Nice and simple. Dead cheap as well. What did that cost me? £12? 14 at the most? Brilliant. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only One. Out.